this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting topic on Vedic astrology. And today we'll be talking about the gemstone Blue Sapphire and its related planet, Saturn, or you can say it the other way. We'll be talking about Saturn and its related gemstone Blue Sapphire. And like I've already mentioned in my earlier videos, the earlier sages, if you go far back, more than 10,000 years ago, who knows how long back, but at least 10,000 years back, when you talk about the Saptarishis, sage Bhrigu, sage Atri, sage Parashara, sage Jaimini, sage Gautam, all those rishis who were in the Vedic times, the Vedic age, the Satyuga or the Krita Yuga, as you can say, they did not use gemstones as remedial measures if a planet is afflicted. Instead, they believed on using pujas, homas, mantras, appeasement of planets, and there were various ways and methods of doing that. The Vedas gave an indication or an understanding how to perform these rituals. So the Rig Veda had the ancient mantras and description about various gods who were related to the planets, so as to say, and by praying to those gods you could get relief as far as planetary afflictions are concerned. And then Yajurveda had explained in detail about how to perform those rituals. So they believed mostly on remedial measures which are related to homas and prayers, rather, instead of using gemstones. And gemstones, as we know, bring quick results. So I don't know what was the reason why they did not prescribe gemstones in those ages. But in recent times, recent scholars, until about 1500 years or so, have used gemstones very effectively for enhancing the power of planets. That's one way of doing it, which could bring them benefits and luck, or appeasing afflicted planets through the use of gemstones. And they've been using various methods. One is an Anukula method, the other is a Pratikula method, meaning which if a planet is well placed in somebody's birth chart, they will try to enhance its power through its related gemstone. And if it's Pratikula method, then they'll try to use that gemstone to pacify the planet so that it stops giving ill effects to that person. And then the way they prescribe is that's also being followed by different astrologers using different methods. Some astrologers use based on the ascendant, some astrologers prescribe based on the moon sign, some astrologers prescribe based on the nakshatra, where the planet is, which nakshatra the planet is placed, or which nakshatra moon is placed in, and based on the lord of that nakshatra. So there are various techniques and methods of prescribing gemstones, but yes, they've been found to be very, very effective in recent times, and that's the reason why gemstones have become so expensive in this day and age. So today we'll be talking about Saturn and its related gemstone Blue Sapphire, as you can see on the screen. And let's talk about what Saturn actually signifies first, because based on the significations you'll see problems in somebody's chart in case Saturn is not well placed, and in case it is ill placed. Saturn is a planet of sorrow. Always remember that. Saturn is directly related to sorrow. So if Saturn is not well placed in somebody's chart, it can bring tremendous amount of sorrow and miseries. And also it's a planet of obstruction and delay. So wherever people want to achieve results, and if their Saturn is ill placed, it's going to give you delay and obstruction and disappointments, and it can give you disputes, difficulties, sorrow, dejections, and even death, because Saturn is a natural planet of longevity. So if Saturn is well placed, a person lives long, and its natural signification is related to longevity. And as we know that Saturn is a natural significator of the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses, and 8th houses in the house of longevity. And if it's not well placed, it can bring death. And so people whose Saturn is not well placed, they get dejected because, everything gets delayed in their life, everything gets obstructed in their lives, and they're, full of sorrow. So they end up, doing silly things, I would say, or it's not their fault, but they could get addicted to drugs. They could get very, very lonely. They could, be very dishonest, because, all these problems are related. It's like it's a cycle. It's a snowball effect, so as to say. Miseries will bring you to taking actions which are not good for you. So some people resort to drugs and get addicted to drugs, and some people become dishonest, some people get very sadistic, and other problems which people face with a bad Saturn is, I can go on and on, but lawsuits, suicidal tendencies, enmity with their own relatives, all kinds of pessimistic attitude in life, and also premature aging as well, because Saturn is an old man. If it's not well placed, it can give you premature aging. So you will see, Saturn people, either they are very high up there, very, very successful, because Saturn can give you anything what you can ask for, and it can be right opposite to what the problems related to Saturn are, which we just discussed. So in terms of profession, iron is directly related to Saturn, iron and steel. So, and oil is related to Saturn as well. So depending on their houses of career and how it's placed, you could be related to all these areas, like machinery, because that's iron and steel, construction workers, because it also represents construction as well. And sometimes it can make people renunciates. So some of the good monks and hermits and people who have denounced materialistic life also are related to Saturn. It all depends on how you read the chart, because there are so many other factors that have to be taken into consideration. But yes, always remember that Saturn is a planet of dejection, sorrow, if it's not well placed, and it can give you just the opposite results in case it's well placed. In the body, Saturn rules the hair, the teeth, the nails, the bones as well, the nervous system. All these areas are ruled by Saturn. Once again, if Saturn is badly placed, it can give you physical ailments in these parts of your body. And if it's well placed, it's really good for you. So how do we take care of these problems? And like I said, recent scholars, recent Vedic astrologers, until about 1500 years or so, have found that use of gemstones can take care of the problems, and also can increase the power of the planets in case it's well placed. And Blue Sapphire has been used very, very effectively of taking care of these problems which are related to Saturn. And the rulership of Saturn is Aquarius and Capricorn, and it gets exalted in the sign of Libra, as we know that. But then, don't just go ahead and try to experiment with a blue sapphire yourself. Please take the advice of a Vedic astrologer, a good Vedic astrologer, who can see whether a blue sapphire will suit you or not. Because if it suits you, it can give you anything what you're going to ask for. It can remove all kinds of sorrows and obstructions in your life. And if it does not suit you, it can give you all these problems which we just discussed. So I'm not going to get into more details about Saturn, what color it rules, what direction it rules. We can go on and on, but let's talk about that blue sapphire. That where did it? And it's believed that Egyptians first. There's a theory that Egyptians first came to know about the powers of blue sapphire, and they actually traveled all the way to India to find good quality blue sapphires in a place in India, northern India, called Kashmir. And that's how the Indian astrologers also came to know about the connection of blue sapphire with the planet Saturn and how it can be used very effectively for Vedic astrology purposes. That's one theory. But then we definitely know that the best blue sapphires come from Kashmir Valley, and the Sanskrit name for blue sapphire is Indranila, or in generic terms, in today's day and age, it's called Neelam as well. So the best sapphires, blue sapphires, come from Kashmir. Although it has been exploited, the mines of Kashmir have been exploited so much that there are no more blue sapphires available in Kashmir anymore. But you can get, Kashmir blue sapphires still through certain people who've held them for generations, or maybe many, many years, from the time when blue sapphires were available from the Kashmir mines. And those were, today they are not available, but there were times when they were available. So you can get it as a resale. But new blue sapphires, very, very important, very, very difficult to get in today's days, from Kashmir especially. So where do we get good blue sapphires from now? Well, Sri Lanka is a very good source of blue sapphires, and of course the quality is not as great as what you could see in a Kashmir blue sapphire, but it's pretty good. Sri Lanka and sometimes Burma as well can come out, although Burma is mostly known for rubies, but you can get some blue sapphires at times from Burmese mines as well, because basically it's a corundum, and the corundum is red, it's ruby, and if the corundum is yellow, it's yellow sapphire, and if the corundum is blue, it is blue sapphires. So that's how you can get some blue sapphires from Burma. And of course Sri Lanka is a great source where you can get good corundums in terms of if it's red, you can get rubies. If it's yellow, you can get yellow sapphires. And there are plenty of mines where you can get blue sapphires from Sri Lanka. And what to watch out in a good blue sapphire is that it should be transparent as much as possible. So any inclusion in a blue sapphire is totally not recommended. It can bring death as well, it's believed. And if it's milky, not recommended. You'll see some blue sapphires which are milky in color, which are blue but they have a shade of milky color. No, please do not, because it can bring you poverty. That's what is the belief of Vedic astrologers who have tested with blue sapphires. So the good thing is that the size should be good, between 5 and 7 carats is a good size. It should have a smooth surface, it should have luster in it, and it should have the right color in it. The best blue sapphire color is, if you can imagine, the neck of a peacock that color is the best color for a blue sapphire. And of course the neck of a peacock is not transparent, but then, you know, in the same shade of color, if you can get a transparent blue sapphire without any major inclusions. I mean, obviously you'll have some inclusions, but without any major inclusions, especially black inclusions, or, you know, milky or uneven. Maybe it's dark in one side and a little lighter in other side. Avoid that part as well. Or if it's got cracks. So please, you know, do not get that. And sometimes it's double colored. Why? Because it's corundum. So corundum is the same mineral, but then, you know, based on the color, yellow becomes yellow sapphire and blue becomes blue sapphire. And sometimes you can get gemstones which have many colors in it. Totally ignore it, because it has to be blue and transparent blue, and ideally that shade which I just explained to you. The neck of a peacock, that color is ideal. And try not to get opaque gemstones, because that is not recommended. And how to identify a good blue sapphire is, you know, it emits blue light when it is placed in a white cloth. And some astrologers go to the extent of saying that if it is placed in cow's milk, the milk appears to have a bluish tinge. I mean, these are some of the methods by which ancient scholars used to differentiate a good blue sapphire from a not so good blue sapphire. And they also felt that in case you place a blue sapphire, good blue sapphire, or real blue sapphire in water, then also you can see a bluish tinge in that water. But these are all ancient methods, and today we have at our disposal several laboratories, so you can get a good blue sapphire tested from a good laboratory. That's the safest way, because these gemstones like a blue sapphire can run into thousands of dollars, so they're pretty expensive. So you would not like to take any kind of a chance by buying off the internet without a certificate of purity or it being real from a good gemological laboratory. So try to avoid buying it from the internet. Try to get it from a good jeweler whom you can go and, you know, kind of, or even if you can find a good store on the internet, it should have been in business for quite some time with a good reputation. So because imitations are very easy to make these days, you know, you'll find a lot of imitation blue sapphires, or sometimes they call it lab created. That's not as effective. They say, well, they claim that those gemstones like a blue sapphire could be a lab created corundum, a lab created blue corundum, but don't buy that. It has to be natural, Jyotish quality, and unheated. Unheated is very, very important, because then once you heat it, then it loses its powers. Although in ancient ages, I've read in certain books that until about 500 years or 700 years ago, in India they used to heat gemstones to a high temperature to remove the inclusions, and those were accepted as Jyotish gemstones. So try to use unheated ones as much as you can, but if you have to get some heated ones, they're not going to lose their power completely, but definitely they may be a little less powerful. Anything natural coming directly from the earth and clear and transparent, the right color, the right luster, that's ideal. But then again, it could run into thousands of dollars. So that's the reason why, you know, before spending this money, and not just for the money, you know, it can give you real harmful effects in case you wear a gemstone and it does not suit you, especially in the case of blue sapphire. So make sure you go to a good Vedic astrologer in case you want to use the powers of blue sapphire, who can recommend whether you can wear a blue sapphire or not. So hopefully you did enjoy this video on Saturn and its related gemstone, Blue Sapphire, and how you can use it to enhance your luck. And in the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below, and I will see you with an interesting topic on Vedic astrology very soon. Goodbye.